You didn't cheat. You didn't walk out on them, right? You still love your partner dearly. So why does it feel like they're slipping away from you slowly, right? Like they're shutting down, like they've stopped trying. I'm gonna tell you how it happens, and most people don't even realize it, don't realize what they're doing until it's too late. See, it begins with the shift you didn't see coming. See, at first, they spoke up to you, right? They expressed their needs to you. They told you how they felt, all the things, and they kept trying to have these sit downs, these deep dives with you, these, hey, can we have a conversation? Can we talk type dialogue, right? They did all the things and they kept expressing what they felt like they weren't getting from you or how they felt about certain things you do or that you don't do, that you've said or that you don't say, all the things, right? They're really pouring it out. And maybe it's regularly, maybe it's, all the time seemingly to you, or maybe it's here or there, but they're doing it. It's hit your radar as a thing. But over time, they stopped explaining. They stopped repeating themselves. They stopped reacting and started detaching from you, right? See, in the beginning, they were a lot more emotionally invested into trying to get you to understand or get you to see them and all the things. But as time is going along, they're not doing that anymore. They're not putting that effort anymore, right? This shift has happened in the middle ground to where they're more so pulling away from you versus making this attempt to lean in towards you and try to stay bonded and connected to you. And nobody in the situation really noticed that it wasn't the love that left, right? Because see, you're still actively in this relationship with your partner, right? You still love them and you like to think they still have love for you. You know it's there, but that's not the part that left. It was the safety. The safety's gone. And no one has caught that safety is now lacking and not present the way it once was. And that's becoming the sore spot as to why you're having the experience you're having and noticing your partner operating the way they're operating towards you. And that's also a big reason why you may have even gone and said something or say, hey, you okay? Things seem a little different, everything else. And they're like, oh, no. Yeah, I'm good. Or they're downplaying it or whatever, because sometimes they're not even consciously aware of where they're at and how they've gotten there themselves. Yes, they know something feels off. They know they're not happy. They may have some idea of some of the reasons as to why, but they're not fully clear on where they're actually sitting in an emotional space, the state they're in, right? The vibration that they're operating on and what their actual truth is versus what their conscious truth is. Because those can be two different things sometimes. The less self-aware you are of where you actually are at with your emotions, your feelings and things, right? And your ability to identify the core root, the less valid you're going to be operating out of whatever narrative that you're telling yourself, right? This is why a lot of people go in relationship situations that maybe, for instance, have deep-rooted abandonment issues. I don't know. And they don't, understand why they get so triggered whenever it seems like their partner's like out of reach, right? Or they tell themselves, oh, it's just because I don't like whenever I feel like I'm not connected with my partner, or I don't like feeling, I worry, right? About them being gone, or, you can't really trust people too much. They all leave anyway. So they give themselves reasons to make their wound way of operating make sense, right? Because they haven't identified that the core problem is something that happened maybe years ago, to where it's stuck with them on a subconscious level, and on an energetic level, an emotional level, in their nervous system level. And they don't realize that it's literally fueling the way they operate with their partner here today on the surface. See, all those times what you thought was just arguing, right? Where you're just thinking to yourself, well, it's not that deep. Couples argue, you get upset or whatever. And you were just, mad, frustrated in the moment. So of course you raised your voice at your partner. Of course, you were upset. It's what happens, right? Or maybe you got so upset, you had a moment and you called them out of their name, right? Because you just want them to feel the anger and the frustration that you had, right? And maybe how hurt you were or whatever about whatever the situation was. Or maybe you walked off right in the middle of while they're still talking. You got so over it and upset and just done with them in the conversation that you just, walked into another room or, just left the house or whatever while they're still mid sentence, right? Trying to get whatever point across to you that they're trying to make. Or maybe you hit them with the good old, I don't care about how you feel, right? You didn't care about how I felt whenever X, Y, Z, right? Or maybe you just always cut them off mid sentence, right? Right in the middle of them saying something, you always chop in. They can't even get the words out. They can't even finish their thought, right? Or maybe you talk at them all the time when you guys get into argument versus talking to them, to where it feels like a scolding match, right? Or you just really just getting whatever off of your chest, but you're not actually trying to have real dialogue. And no, you had zero intention. You were from the furthest thing from trying to destroy anything, right? But you slowly did. Because what you thought was just venting, what you labeled as, hey, this is what happens whenever, you get emotions run high and you guys get into it, right? What you called venting, they experienced as disrespect. And that right there is the nucleus to how you're going to wind up losing the person that loves you the most. And the invisible damage that starts to happen as a result of disrespect every time it's introduced into your conversations is your trust got broken just a little bit more and a little bit more, right? Another chip away at the trust block, right? Resentment started to grow. It's like a feeding ground, like a seed. Disrespect is a seed that once watered, resentment is the byproduct of it, right? Offense, right? And then the emotional walls go up, right? The trust starts getting torn down, and the wall fortress against you to keep you out from your partner to you starts to go up. And look, most of the time, if you're in a dynamic to where you are being disrespectful to your partner, right? Saying disrespectful things, doing disrespectful things, or what have you, it's less likely that you're the only one in that equation being disrespectful in some regard. They probably have done something too, right? To where you're firing back or whatever. Whoever started it, chicken or the egg came first, doesn't matter. But you get into this kind of cycle. So there's a good chance that maybe your walls are kind of going up as well. But if you're the one noticing that your partner's moving further away from you and you don't feel like you've been doing that with them, then more likely they're having more of that experience of disrespect, at least in their own mind, than you are, or at least they're taking it more personally. And instead of feeling close to you, like they should, they start seeing you as someone they need to protect themselves from, right? Not a partner, but an enemy. You're the ops now. You've officially taken that tag with enough deposits of disrespect into the relationship. And now they move different, right? They operate as an individual, not as a unit. Less things they do and say have a we behind it or an us. It's an I or a me or I need to, I have to, I type stuff, right? But the love is still there, right? It's still present. It's still floating around somewhere. But the bond is severely cracked. There's a break right in the middle. And it's gone too far by the time you've realized that they've changed, right? They've emotionally packed up now. And that's when deception creeps in, right? Cheating, secrets, silent exits, right? They're slowly mentally and emotionally checking out of everything with you guys. Or they're maybe secretly preparing themselves to walk away from you. Whatever you want to put under that on that list starts to happen. And their silent exit from the relationship is usually because the foundation was destroyed long before the breakup, right? Like I've said in previous videos, your partner doesn't just walk away and seemingly feel nothing and, they're your ex now and they're like just already moved on with their life just like that, unless they already went through the emotional detachment process long before walking away, where it was a slow build up to that point to where they've already kind of grieved the relationship while still in it with you. And the worst part about this process, if you're the person in the seat of, noticing them becoming distanced until it kind of just happens one day, is that it doesn't always look toxic. Sometimes it just looks like distance or coldness, right? Roommates, not lovers, until they're gone, until it smacks you in the face. Oh my gosh, they left me. And that's the worst position to be in. If you don't protect the way you speak to your partner, speak of your partner in rooms that they're not in, right? Or treat your partner, you are going to destroy the very thing you're trying to keep. Respect isn't optional when it comes to a lasting, loving relationship. It's the oxygen, right? So if you lose it, you lose them. There's no way around that, even if they still loved you, right? Because if they love themselves enough, no matter how much they care for you, they're never going to stay to endure disrespect because it's disrespectful to themselves to continue to stay there. Never forget, you can't say you truly love someone if you do not respect that person, because respect means courtesy and consideration for one's thoughts and feelings, right? Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know a world where you can say you love someone, but not care about and show courtesy and consideration for the way they feel and their thoughts on things, their opinions, like, because that is them, the person. If you don't show compassion for those things and consideration, what you're saying is, I don't care about the things that matter to you and that makes you you and makes you a happy person and all those things. You can't love that person if you don't care about those things on at least the basics of levels to where you have an honor and a respect for those things. So if disrespect is a major factor in your relationship and you can see how it's deteriorating things, right? And you need help with that. Or maybe you've unfortunately already lost your partner and disrespect's been a thing that you struggle with partners in the past for a while. You want to make sure that it doesn't continue to hinder you with the next person that comes along. Then email or DM me the word coaching and we will get to work, only if you're truly ready to put that work in. If you're not ready for one-on-one coaching, the time, space, and maybe even the resources, then at least email or DM me the word transformation. And I'll see you in the link to my relationship renewal course that I teach you whether you're single or you're still in your relationship. The same things I teach my clients one-on-one at your own pace, on your own time, at something more reasonable to where your resources are right now. But either way, do something to get in the race. Let's get it.